The second Anna Blake's beat-up pickup truck rumbled into the gravel lot of our lakeside retreat. Karen Whitmore stormed out of her pristine colonial across the street, her designer sunglasses glinting with righteous fury. "You don't belong here. I'm calling the cops right now," she bellowed, her voice slicing through the serene hum of cicadas. From my porch, I watched this HOA queen, armed with a clipboard and a superiority complex, turn our quiet family getaway into a war zone. Karen had no clue she'd just locked horns with someone who thrives on dismantling tyrants like her. This wasn't just a mix-up, it was the opening shot of a battle that would expose the ugly truth about power-hungry bullies hiding behind petty titles. I'm Tom Hargrove, 60, a retired mechanic who thought I'd earned my peace at Willow Creek, a slice of heaven my dad carved out in 1960. Our cabin, with its weathered cedar walls and creaky deck overlooking the water, has been the heart of our family for decades, a place for fishing, bonfires, and stories under the stars. I'd been counting down the days to this weekend, eager to see my nephew, Ryan Kessler, a 34-year-old environmental lawyer with a knack for taking down corporations that poison rivers and dodge accountability. Ryan had just won a massive case against a chemical company, securing a $1.5 billion cleanup fund for a contaminated watershed. The grind had left him hollowed out, his usual spark dimmed by endless court battles. When he called last month, voice cracked with fatigue, asking to crash at the cabin, I jumped at the chance to give him a break. Willow Creek's gentle waves and pine-scented breeze were the reset he needed. Ryan's usual hybrid was getting a tune-up, so he showed up in a borrowed, dented pickup that screamed temporary more than trespasser. He stepped out in faded jeans and a flannel, looking more like a guy ready to chop wood than a legal shark. But Karen Whitmore, our HOA dictator with her polished nails and a Range Rover sporting a vanity plate reading Willow 1, saw an intruder. Karen, 50, ran the HOA like a personal fiefdom, her clipboard a scepter and her rules a guillotine. She'd lived across from us for 3 years, but never bothered to notice the parade of family members who used the cabin year-round. Spotting Ryan's truck, she pounced, convinced she'd caught a squatter red-handed. From my porch, the scene unfolded like a bad movie. Ryan, stretching after a 4-hour drive, barely had time to grab his duffel before Karen was in his face, waving her phone and threatening to summon every law enforcement agency in the county. Ryan stayed cool, explaining he was family, but Karen wasn't hearing. It was too busy dialing, her voice climbing to a pitch that could shatter glass. I started down the steps to defuse the situation, but Karen's tirade was relentless, fueled by the kind of arrogance that comes from never being challenged. She didn't know she was yelling at a guy who makes polluters beg for mercy in court. Within 20 minutes, a sheriff's deputy rolled up, lights flashing like we were running a drug cartel. Deputy Larson, a grizzled veteran used to Karen's dramatics, approached with a sigh, but froze when Ryan introduced himself. "Wait, you're the lawyer from the ChemCorp case? Saw you in the news," Larson said, eyebrows raised. Ryan nodded, explaining he was just here for a weekend with his uncle, but Karen, in her tailored blazer and pearls, doubled down, insisting Ryan was a liar who needed to be arrested before he vandalized the community. Larson scribbled a few notes, shot Ryan an apologetic look, and drove off. That should have been the end, but Karen was like a dog with a bone. By nightfall, she'd rallied the troops, blasting out emails about an urgent HOA meeting to address trespassing and community safety threats. The meeting hall was packed, a rare sight for our sleepy neighborhood. Karen stood at a podium, clutching a stack of grainy photos of Ryan's truck, spinning a tale of suspicious behavior and potential vagrancy. The crowd murmured, some nodding along until Evelyn Marsh, our 80-year-old retired librarian, stood up. Her voice, steady and sharp, cut through the room like a blade. Evelyn revealed Karen's 3-year campaign of harassment, fining elderly residents for minor infractions, threatening families over kids' toys, and strong-arming anyone who dared question her. She pulled out a binder, compiled by her late husband, detailing Karen's selective enforcement and intimidation tactics. The kicker? Karen had been ousted from an HOA in Oregon after similar complaints. The room fell silent as Ryan, leaning against the back wall, scribbled notes, his lawyer instincts kicking in. Karen tried to brush Evelyn off, calling her confused, but Ryan stepped forward, his calm authority shifting the air. He introduced himself as an environmental litigator and suggested Karen's actions might warrant closer legal scrutiny. The next morning, our cabin transformed into a command center. Ryan, fueled by black coffee, dug into HOA records, uncovering a cesspool of violations, fake fines, payments to ghost vendors, and bylaws ignored for Karen's whims. I hit the phones, talking to neighbors who spilled stories of Karen's rainmister. Patel fined 4 unauthorized birdhouses, the Lopez family hassled over their kid's soccer ball, and 79-year-old widower Grace Turner targeted with weekly notices for her garden gnomes. Grace, voice trembling, admitted Karen had threatened to report her to social services for neglecting her property. Ryan's findings were explosive. Karen's fines lacked legal backing, violating state regulations. Her financial records hinted at fraud, thousands funneled to non-existent contractors. Evelyn brought a box of her husband's notes, chronicling Karen's targeting of seniors and single parents, a pattern Ryan recognized as a civil rights violation. His vacation was over. This was now a mission. He called his firm, Kessler & Stone, and by Monday, a legal team was tearing into Karen's records, demanding every document under state transparency laws. Karen's response was a disaster. She hired a strip mall lawyer and sent new fines to silence witnesses, handing Ryan more evidence of retaliation. Neighbors, emboldened, shared horror stories. Mrs. Kim, a 72-year-old retiree, revealed Karen's threats to lien her home after she questioned a budget line item. Ryan's team uncovered Karen's Oregon pasta settlement for discriminatory practices she'd buried before moving here. By Wednesday, state investigators, led by Detective Maria Ruiz, descended, treating the case as elder abuse and fraud. They found Karen linked to a network of HOA officials across 3 states, sharing tactics to fleece communities. Search warrants hit Karen's house, revealing bank accounts, fake invoices, and emails detailing her schemes. Friday dawned with chaos. Police cars and a forensic team swarmed Karen's driveway as neighbors gawked. Handcuffed in yoga pants, her perfect hair a mess, Karen faced charges: elder abuse, fraud, harassment, civil rights violations, and conspiracy. The evidence was damning—a playbook for exploiting vulnerable residents, with over 400 victims across states. At a community gathering on our dock, Grace Turner hugged Ryan, tears in her eyes, thanking him for her freedom. 6 months later, Karen stood before Judge Clara Bennett, sentenced to 10 years in prison and $250,000 in restitution. The case sparked statewide HOA reforms. Ryan started a pro bono practice to protect communities, and Willow Creek became a beacon of unity. As I watched the sunset from the dock, I knew we'd fought for more than our cabin. We'd shown that no bully is untouchable when a community fights back.